Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I'm Ethan, joined, as always, by most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Saturday morning. That means one thing only. No, not your daughter's soccer practice. It means it is time for Stream or Skip segment. I introduce a segment. Pete takes over and reads out the rules. So without further ado, Pete, tell us, what is Stream or Skip all about?
All right. So Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign each other one of those shows. We watch at least 2 episodes or 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program. And on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
That is a very correct and accurate explanation. And I just want to add one more thing, which I think is particularly relevant this week. We go out on a limb to try to find diamonds in the rough. I mean, it doesn't mean that we're only looking kind of like at indie shows. I mean, almost everything we're watching is on a mainstream platform, Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV Plus, and so forth. But we're definitely not trying to find the highly promoted shows that kind of everyone is watching. So, for example, Foundation on Apple TV Plus. Instead, we're trying to go down a little bit and try to find something that's a little bit more niche or undiscovered. And we've had some very, very good success doing that. And we've had some not so great success doing that. Pete, this is one of those weeks I think neither one of us have had a lot of success doing that.
I would agree, very much so.
Yeah. But nevertheless, this is our public service for our listeners. You were on Netflix, and I assigned you something that I think is totally out of your wheelhouse. Sorry, not sorry, is basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
No problem. So this week I had a show called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Long title.
And in your defense, I know why you assigned it to me. It's because it's a very popular show on Netflix, and it just got renewed for a second series.
Oh, that means it's met one of your criteria, at least.
It's right. The problem with the show, it's not really a problem, but the reality is the genre of the show is more on the young adult side. And while I like to think that I am a young adult, the reality is I'm not a young adult. So this is not I am not the target audience.
Okay.
It's a British drama series, but like a young adult drama series based on a book.
Okay.
It takes place in a small, quaint British town, like cobblestone streets. Everyone knows each other. There's like a nice big shot of a cathedral. It's the stereotypical British small town that everyone thinks of.
Cute.
It's about a schoolgirl who begins investigating the murder of a fellow schoolgirl. It's one of those things where the girl is on holiday, she's on her half-term break, and there was this guy who was accused of murdering his girlfriend at the school that she attends, and the guy commits suicide over those allegations. Effectively, what happens is she doesn't believe that guy actually did it, and so she spends her break trying to solve this murder mystery. Right?
This is not based on a true story. This is entirely fiction?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
It feels very much like a Nancy Drew style investigative series.
Yeah, the inquisitive young teen girl. Right?
Exactly. I mean, in what world would a 15-year-old child in general be able to single-handedly solve the mystery of a murder or a missing girl? It just implausible as it is, but it's a young adult story, so it's fine.
Okay.
It's got a list of quirky characters. It's got a list of people who are like, they look creepy on the outside and they're clearly red herrings. Like they're meant to be like, oh, that guy definitely was involved,
all the misdirection.
But he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So look, it's your stereotypical young adult thing. If I were 25 years younger, I might be interested, but it's not my bag. This is just very much a skip. It's not for me, and I very much doubt it's for you as well.
But it got renewed for a second season. Does that mean like she's solving a new murder, or what's the?
Your guess is as good as mine. I saw 2 episodes and I was struggling to get through the first.
Oh, okay. Got it. So she may not actually solve the murder this season. It may be to be continued.
It may be
to
be continued, or it may unravel into a greater conspiracy,
Oh,
or
yeah.
next summer she solves another murder.
She's busy. Ooh, this is on Netflix, yeah, but it's
This is
gotten
on
good.
Netflix.
It's gotten good. I don't want to say like press or publicity, but it's pushed very hard on Netflix. Do you
No,
agree?
it definitely has gotten good press. It stars, I can't remember the name of the actor, but she is also in Wednesday, the Addams Family reboot. So it stars her as well. So it's got a famous face in that regard, and it's got a face that Netflix is familiar with, so she knows the
Mhm.
system. So, I mean, good for her, but it's just not a show that I would ever want to watch.
So that is a skip. Not much else
Definitely.
to say. All right, Pete, I will transition into my assignment from you, which is The Bondsman on Amazon Prime. For those of you who don't know what a bondsman is, and I don't even know if this is an antiquated topic or not, but it used to be when there was someone who was arrested, they're put into, kind of like a temporary jail, and they can post a bond, which is basically like collateral, in exchange for being released. It's basically kind of this good faith belief that you will not be held in jail, but there is some collateral, so you're not likely to, drive to Mexico and change your identity, and you'll show up for trial because you put up this big amount of money, and this money is gone. It goes to the government, to the court, or whomever. If you don't show up, it's called a bond. A
Yeah.
bondsman is kind of like these bounty hunters. I think there used to be like this reality show called like Dog
Dog
the
the Bounty
Bounty
Hunter.
Hunter,
Yeah.
right? When people basically skip out on their bond, then the bondsman goes looking for that person. And like you said, they're kind of like a bounty hunter, the original Boba Fett, for example, going to try to find the person. And they have some type of like quasi judicial power to arrest them or, bring them back to jail because they're not free to go just because they pay the bond. They're basically still need to stand trial. They just lose the bond. Generally, or at least the perception, the stereotype is that they kind of straddle the world between these very rugged, rough around the edges, often hard drinking, hard partying, hard
Yeah.
smoking guys who have guns and know how to fight and punch, kind of glorified bouncers. But at the same time, they're kind of quote unquote related to the judicial system. So they have some authority. So it's not like you have a police officer in like this blue uniform, crisply pressed and stuff, going to find these guys. You've got someone who generally kind of looks and acts like a criminal. And just by virtue of this job that's kind of like on the peripheral of the justice system, they're able to kind of dress pretty grungy. Hair is usually pretty long and grungy. They're smoking, they're drinking, and they're out there kind of punching their way in bars and places to get someone who doesn't want to probably voluntarily come back and be in jail and just kind of like forcibly do it. So they're generally kind of big, beefy fighters or bouncers, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a background of what a bondsman is. So the Bondsman is Amazon Prime show starring Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is a bondsman. We see him kind of in an opening scene. I don't think he's like ultra manicured, for example. Like, we used to use kind of the term like metrosexual. He's not like overly manicured, but definitely for an older gentleman, I think we generally see him with kind of like shorter hair, dressed neat, more often than not shaved. And here he's playing a rough and tumble bondsman, smoking, very disheveled hair, a lot of facial, stubble, kind of a leather jacket, very, very grungy, dirty jeans and boots and stuff, driving a very beat up car, kind of shotgun slung over his shoulder. We see him as a bondsman going after to try to arrest this one guy. The guy kind of sets him up. So Kevin Bacon is then killed. Subsequently, Kevin Bacon kind of like wakes up and he's been disposed of, let's say. And he just kind of wakes up like in a sudden fit. And he's a little bit confused, disoriented, very bloody and bruised and beat up. And he kind of remembers everything, but not exactly. And it turns out that he is like reincarnated. He's alive. And originally, you see his like dramatic scars and these quickly heal. And now we get into a little bit of the sci-fi element of this, or the fantastical element of this, is that there's kind of a heaven and hell. And in the case of hell, there have been some demons who have escaped hell. They've taken a human form on Earth, and Kevin Bacon is being given the second chance at life. So that is episodes 1, episodes 2, the plot. I was very, very skeptical that I would like this show. It didn't seem to be my style at all. And to be honest, not just not my style, it didn't seem to be a good show or a good premise. After I would say the first episode, I was actually reasonably into it. And I think I messaged you and told you the same. It was gritty. And I really liked Kevin Bacon's work and kind of his character. And I was like kind of convincing myself that I could really get into this. Second episode, a little bit as well, once I kind of like explained the parameters of what the show is and the plot. Then beginning kind of like episode 3 and beyond, it got a little bit weird for me. And it got weird in the sense that Kevin Bacon does a great job, actually. I like his kind of character. The two things I don't like at all is that he kind of teams up with his mom, which is absolutely not a compelling duo. Like his mom is kind of this older, very religious, but at the same time, a little bit like gruff character. And I don't like that team up at all. Like it would have been okay if Kevin Bacon's character would have teamed up with like his partner who is a bounty hunter, or his son who is a bounty hunter, or someone else. But like the idea, it just didn't match with his mom at all.
But partnered up with his mom as like she's his handler, or she goes out on the field with him?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon's dad, right before he passed, was a bondsman. So she kind of knows the business. So she's kind of like his quasi secretary, but also is with him on these like witch hunts. It doesn't play at all. Like it's pretty miserable. Second part that I don't like is that they are chasing demons, and like I'm not really a demon kind of guy. I'm not really into vampires or zombies. I feel like the rules are just kind of like all over the place with these like creatures. Like they've got scary eyes. They've got kind of some powers, or they can like sometimes be like super strong, or they can like jump, or they can crawl on ceilings, or I just feel like for shows like this, the rules are not really clear to me. Like, what powers do they have? Like, how can they be killed? What hurts them? I'm a little bit more, I just like a good framework. And I feel like this is all over the place. And I'm not really, like I said, a demon, zombie, kind of guy. So I thought this kind of deteriorated pretty quickly. That I could kind of get behind Kevin Bacon, but it was pretty dark. It's very bloody, similar to like Gen Z or The Boys. Like it's a very bloody, gory, in, to be honest, a kind of exciting way. But overall, can't get behind the idea of hunting all these, escape demons down. So it is a skip. And in fact, this has not been renewed. So I'm not disappointed nor surprised. But I have to say, the whole idea of this show, I'm not sure where it came from. Like, I get the idea of Amazon wanting Kevin Bacon. That's a pretty big name. I can kind of come to think that maybe Kevin Bacon, who seems to have a good sense of adventure for like different characters, would be a little bit attracted to this. But I'm a little bit surprised that there wasn't anyone, we often talk about like our vice president of like common sense. I'm a little bit surprised that like no one at Amazon and Kevin Bacon kind of sat down and said like, hey, do you think this show is really going to be a success? Like, is this really going to appeal to someone? Is this really what we want on Amazon Prime? I'm just fascinated. A group of people would be like, no, I think this has wheels. Like, I think this is going to be something that we can do for a couple seasons, that people are really going to gravitate towards this, that this is going to be our thing.
Yeah.
This does not seem like something that would like fit within their strategy. So unless they're saying like, oh, let's diversify, I think we need a horror comedy series. Like, is there a market for that they really felt like that's what's missing on Amazon Prime? Was it just the idea of Kevin Bacon's a big get? It's just, I'd really be interested to kind of talk to the people that move this forward and try to understand what their thinking was, what the logic was, what the discussion process was, where they thought that this would be a very popular show on Amazon. And to me, when a show gets canceled after one season, that's a huge fail. Yeah. So it's really surprising, because this didn't seem like something like, well, we've got all this star power and, this is a very popular theme and we think this is going to catch on. Kevin Bacon's the only, I'm sorry to say this, there's other people who are kind of known a little bit in this, but I mean, Kevin Bacon's he is the name in this, right? So he's got to carry it himself. I'm not even sure that Kevin Bacon is such a big name anymore. I mean, his body of work is tremendous. I mean, my mom knows him, my brother knows him, but I feel like he's not like a hot actor, like an A-list actor, like everyone's clamoring for like more Kevin Bacon right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's my long explanation, and I have given The Bondsman on Amazon Prime a skip. Pete, let's turn the page and look forward to next week. What do we got?
All right. Next week, we're both on Netflix. You
Correct.
are watching a show called The Madness.
Yeah.
I am watching a show called Adolescence.
Yeah, your show is critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
So let's see how that is. Pete, before we sign off on this week's episode of Streamer Skip, can you read off our social media YouTube cred so people can launch, give us their feedback or make suggestions?
All right. So leave a comment below, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell.
I love it already. Pete, thank you for reviewing a show that I know is outside of your wheelhouse. We wish you better luck next time. Viewers, this is our public service. Every Saturday, tune in. Next week, next episode, Films and Stuff Podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.